My fiancé planted his seed in another woman, so I planted seeds that grew into his personal hell. My fiancé managed to destroy our family before I could even tell him it existed, which was exactly the kind of timing I should have expected from someone who friend-zoned me for 7 years. I'd been pathetically in love with Tyler since he was just a scrawny kid with bad acne and a skateboard he couldn't actually ride, watching him date every girl in school while I played therapist after each breakup. When I finally confessed at 19, drunk calling him from my college dorm, I figured the worst he could say was no, and we'd never talk again since I was states away anyway. Instead, he went silent for so long I thought he'd hung up, then claimed he'd been in love with me since our 8th grade winter dance kiss, the one I'd convinced myself meant nothing to him. That confession changed everything. Everyone who knew us was suddenly planning our wedding while I flew back to our hometown in Alaska every other week. After 6 months, he proposed during the Northern Lights. I said yes without thinking twice and started shipping everything I owned to his place, ready to give up my job and leave my family who'd all relocated to California, just to finally build a life with the boy I'd loved since I was 12. The night before my final move, I took a pregnancy test after feeling queasy for a week. 2 pink lines stared back at me, and I couldn't wait to tell Tyler. I called him that evening while he had people over, and when I said I had news, he cut me off to gush about this incredible artist girl named Raven who'd just shown up. I recognized that breathless excitement in his voice, the same tone he used when obsessing over his high school crushes. I told him not to do anything stupid and hung up, then called back an hour later. His roommate Marcus answered and said Tyler couldn't come to the phone right now, and I knew exactly what that meant. The next morning, Tyler confessed to everything, and when I asked why, he said, "She was here and you were far away and she was easy." I told him we were done and hung up, then spent the next hour throwing up from morning sickness and rage. I miscarried that week alone in my apartment, but never told him, and I still flew to Alaska because I'd already shipped everything there and needed to wait for my boxes. I spent 2 weeks on his couch while my body recovered, while Tyler told her I was just a friend from high school, and brought Raven to his room constantly as I sat there listening through the walls. The night he actually looked me in the eye and asked if I thought Raven was cool, like I was supposed to approve of my replacement, I decided to destroy him. I studied Raven at his nightly parties, noticed how her eyes lingered on other women, and how she mentioned ex-girlfriends. I watched Tyler too, saw how he ignored her after he'd gotten what he wanted, barely acknowledging her presence unless he wanted to hook up again. Most importantly, I realized Raven had no idea about our engagement because Tyler had erased me completely. So the next party, I got all done up and waited until everyone was drunk before cornering Raven by the kitchen. I played it perfectly, complimenting her art and letting my fingers trail along her arm until she was the one pulling me closer. She practically dragged me to Tyler's room, the same bed where he and I had planned our future. And for the next hour, I showed her exactly what she'd been missing, taking my time with her in ways he never would. When we were finished and I had her undivided trust, I dropped the bomb. I showed her the engagement ring on my finger, photos from his proposal, explained I'd been sleeping on that couch because I was supposed to be moving in as his fiancé. As she processed this, I stroked her hair and whispered, "If he could do this to someone he's loved for 7 years, what do you think he'll do to you? Be careful." Then I added softly, "Marcus has been the only one who's been kind through all this. Keep saying you deserve better." Then I sighed. It's probably for the best anyway, since Tyler doesn't even have a job anymore. The truth is, I hardly knew Marcus, but she didn't need to know that, just like Tyler didn't know I'd already gotten him fired by telling my cousin who owned the company he worked for about his cheating. The next morning, I was walking out with my boxes when Tyler called out from the kitchen with his usual smirk. "Leaving already? Thought you'd at least stay for breakfast." I set them down calmly, poured coffee, and said, "You were right, Raven is easy." His face went pale as he asked, "What did you do?" I just smiled over my mug and said, "Just planted some seeds I can't wait to see grow," then picked up my boxes and walked out forever. But he was right that she was easy, because Raven was in Marcus's bed within 2 weeks, and now Tyler got to experience exactly what I did, listening from the couch while they went at it in the next room. Tyler got fired that Monday, and his mom found out what he did when I returned her grandmother's ring, and his whole family turned on him. A year later, I randomly got a phone call from Tyler, furious about how I destroyed his life, and that's when I finally told him I'd been pregnant. I got an abortion. I lied coldly, letting him think I'd chosen to kill our future when really I'd lost it. And that's when I heard what I'd waited a year for, Tyler sobbing like his world had ended. I listened for a moment, savoring the sound, then hung up and blocked him forever.